idea. Culture, and culture again is a set of language, religion, tradition, memories, shared memories, future ideas. So a group of people that shares culture. And a group of people that share a certain level of identity. And that includes, there's a border system that says us is within these borders, them is outside these borders. The system always contains the notion of a border. And the notion of belonging, not belonging. And an important issue is the notion of conscience. What is that again in Danish?
Samvittighed. Samvittighed.
And that is that part of our conscience is that part of our consciousness that tells us what is right and wrong, and what is desirable and what should not be done. And that's a huge issue in constellation work, not only personal, but when it comes to intergroup relations or ethnic conflicts. You can observe the interesting thing, that is what Bert Hellinger has over and over stressed, that conscience doesn't tell you anything about absolute moral values. The only thing what conscience tells us is what safeguards my belonging to this group. In order to belong to this group, I have to know this is right and this is wrong. Now take just two groups, the Israelis and the Palestinians. And they live in the same area, and they're dealing with the same struggle, and what they define, what is right and wrong, is totally different. And all over the world, that is the same. So my conscience may well invite me to kill, to torture, to do the most terrible things, which within my group would be a crime, would be a reason to be excluded. So conscience is a tricky issue that not only in families but on a larger level play an important part in the sense of getting conscious of it and transcending it, not blindly believing and following it. A very important element in this work. I know this is very short. This is just to briefly circle around human systems. So a human system shares usually the contents of conscience, what they think is right and wrong. And that defines also a border. For example, the notion of tradition. It's also part of the human system, how they define themselves. We share traditions. This is how things are done in our group. When you ask, why is it done this way? You often hear the answer, because this has been so forever. Okay. Is that very convincing? But it's as if using a certain mindset for centuries, as if that proves it's true. We are prone to this. You know? Oh, that says this is a weight. Yeah, but they do that for centuries now. There must be something to it. And it's hard to question it. Because every tradition has an end. And the question is, when does it come? And very often we are in a position, even in organizations, that we are invited by the circumstances, by our own independent mind, to break a tradition. to stop it. Very difficult. Very difficult to step into that role. Because our child's mind says, now I lose my belonging. And that is absolutely life-threatening. But not necessarily for the adult. If I lose belonging to one group, well, in war circumstance, that's life-threatening. Deserting the army means death penalty. But in normal family organizational circumstances, well, then you would perhaps be criticized or you would be excluded, but this is not a question of life and death. It feels as if it was. For a child it is. So this is a very interesting thing when it comes to tradition and when is their time, when is their time over. Just don't believe me that, just check if it is true that any tradition has its end.